Are you sure you want to do this?
We have to. The fans deserve it. We deserve it. Like Bielisa says, we deserve this.
Guys. It could be worse.
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
Laker fans.
It could be a lot worse. It could be worse.
It could be worse than this. We've seen worse.
We've seen worse.
Get in here.
Oh boy.
Welcome back.
Episode
19. Kang Gang Pod, episode 19. I just
had to sing in that couch. It's like singing into the abyss of despair.
the sunken place.
And it is just brings back sad memories. I mean, at this point, it's either I'm just going through all the emotions right now. Like I've gotten to the laughing stage where I just have to just laugh this off because it's so incredibly deflating and frustrating. Like this is like the laugh. It's like when you're angry at something and then you just laugh and you're still angry. That's where like I am right now. Like this is like the rawest I'm gonna be feeling this entire week. It is just so bad. It's so bad.
No, I completely understand.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna laugh through the pain.
Yeah, all the way.
Honestly, there's nothing more you can do at this point. The Kings have lost their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th game in a row.
And it's the first time in the Mike Brown era.
And was all 5 at home?
All 5 of them, I think, were at home.
Yes.
My God. I don't know if this is statistically correct, but I think we officially have the worst home record in the entire NBA association. Is that true?
We're tied.
We're tied.
Tied?
Thanks for making me feel better.
Oh my God.
We're tied. Oh, everything is right in the world.
Well,
we're tied.
I mean, sheesh. I mean, not for long.
Do you know who we're tied with, RT?
No. Tell me.
Who's the worst team in the NBA?
The Washington Wizards?
That's who we're tied with.
Well, I mean, at that point, did they win tonight or something?
They won
No,
tonight.
the Wizards did win tonight.
They won tonight.
Oh my God.
At home. So if they lost, I mean, them winning saved us the humiliation. So the Kings, 5 games in a row, this losing streak has been horrible. Gek and I were at the game tonight. Just so you guys listening at home, going into tonight, we didn't know if we wanted to record because it was painful. There's just so many emotions going through our heads right now. We're like, do we do it? And then we realized we're not the only ones suffering from this loss. There's other Sacramento Kings fans in this world that want to listen to a therapy session, and that's what we're going to give them today. We are doing this, no notes, just pure emotion tonight. We literally got home about 10 minutes ago. We plugged in the equipment, and here we are.
Also, let's not pretend that we didn't spend 16 years in a row being tossed in the ringer, prepping for this pain.
That is true, Gak. Thank you.
We have seen worse losing streaks
We
that
have.
have lasted years, decades.
These are all true points.
Almost goddamn centuries.
But the thing, okay. But to counter that, we were younger then. We were not. It didn't mean as much with that specific teams that we had then versus what it does now. When you have guys like De'Aaron, DeRozan, Monk, Sabonis, Keegan, when you have an incredible starting 5, I'm just going to keep it at that. This should not happen. This is unacceptable. Going into the season, RT and I, every single season, we print out the schedule.
Oh my God.
And
yeah.
I gave one to RT, I gave one to myself. And we fill it out win-loss, all 82 games. And then we come together after and we tell each other what our records are. And we both, not even having to fact check this, I know this for sure.
I know it for a fact too.
When we see the Pistons on that schedule, we mark it as a
W. But you know what? I just, the fact that we, oh my God, the fact that we were wire to wire the entire night. In most cases, when you go wire to wire, you think that this is going to be a win. And then what happened tonight happened. It is just laughable. It is I have a lot of stuff to say too, but I want to spread it out into like different parts.
Yes. So you know how? Okay, let me give an analogy. Archie, can you scoot a little bit closer?
I'm gonna move a little closer. I want to make sure you're good.
You know when? Thank you. I just needed you to closer. I need you
closer. Yeah.
So you know when in fantasy football it tells you your win percentage for the week.
Oh, don't mention fantasy football. I'm down so bad.
I guarantee you, if the Kings versus Pistons were a fantasy football matchup, the entire game, the Kings would have been in the 90 percentile versus 10% to Detroit. The Kings were up 16 points in the fourth quarter.
10 minutes with 2:47 left.
Yes. 16 points to start the fourth quarter, or maybe like with 10 minutes left. But then with 2 minutes, 45 seconds left, we were up 10. Geck and I were sitting right next to each other. We're like, there's... did we even mention, like, did I say or did you say, like, there's no way we're losing at this point?
I said something. I said, like, this would be a generational choke job if we lost this game.
And
I've done nothing but jinx us. Like,
oh my
no,
God.
but like what you said is
games
like
in a row.
No, because
3 games in a row.
I'll back you up on what you said because Geck, you said you weren't comfortable with the 10-point lead with 2 minutes 45 seconds, which no one in the entire building should be comfortable. But let me tell you this, RT, with about a minute and a half to go, there were fans out there starting the Light the Beam chant, and I was thinking, stop this right now. This is not the time. Like, we were up 5 with like a minute and a half. And I'm like, this is too close a lead to start. You can't do that chant. You know, you have to be very careful when in the game you do it. They were doing it way too early. And I'm like, guys, please stop.
Mike Brown would yell at people for doing that 5 points up, even with 4 seconds left.
He did that like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, like, and like, you know, in the magical run, let's just call it the magical run. Every time we refer to 2022, 2023, that is the magical run. I think even like the players on the bench, like when they would hear it early, like they would like say like, you know, like wait a second. We did it way too early tonight. Should we just break down the fourth quarter? Like where do we even begin? Do we just start with the nail in the coffin?
Yeah, let's just start with the nail in the coffin. I mean, it is so. I think like when I look at this team, I think this team goes based off De'Aaron Fox, and on that last possession when he was guarding, when they were on defense, he like sagged off on defense, letting Jaden Ivey have like a slither of hope. You have to contain the perimeter at that point, and if you give him space, that's just going to let Jaden Ivey do what he needs to do, and then the second part is you foul. You foul at that spot. You foul, and you basically just let him have an opportunity to shoot. And obviously, of course, it goes in. And then he converts the 4-point play. And then,
of course, we have no timeouts left.
And then, of course, we have no timeouts left. And then all of a sudden, De'Aaron like shoots it before half court while there's like a second left. You could have had a better shot opportunity, and there was plenty of time on the clock.
I mean, I guess you could say that, but I think at that point, it's like I think the entire team knows there's no way we're gonna win this game. Like I think after De'Aaron contested Jaden Ivey's shot, fouled him, and won, the entire. I mean, it sucks all the energy out of the arena. Like you hear the sighs, you're like, you hear it all, and then he makes the free throw. You're down 1 after leading the entire game by double digits. We were up comfortably. I think the highest lead was 18 at the point.
Yeah, 18 is, yeah.
I remember saying to Gekka, I was
19.
like, I know Detroit's having a good season this year, but my God, they look terrible against us. And this is when we were up 18, and like
they were not this without Sabonis too.
Yeah, and like the Pistons were not. We didn't let them get into a rhythm once this entire game. Like it was just the Cade Cunningham show with an occasional Malik Beasley, Larsa Pippen's husband, shooting threes. You know, that was like the only thing that was going for them. It was like Cade. If Cade's not hitting, he'll pass it to Malik, and if Malik Beasley happens to hit a shot, okay, they're like going to stay within 15.
Tobias Harris, yeah.
You know, but Tobias had a terrible game.
He had a bad game too. But
so
yeah,
it's like
a lot of the players did.
Cristo and I at one point, I think it was in like the third quarter, we were kind of laughing because like the Kings were up by 18, 19 points, something like that. And the only person who was cooking on the Pistons was Caden Cunningham. And when you look, we looked up at the scoreboard, and at least for who was on the floor for the Pistons, the only person that had points on their stat sheet was Cade Cunningham. He had 12 points, and all 4 other players on the court had nothing.
Like basically, it was like Cade had double digits. Everyone else had under 2 points, and that was basically the story of the game until the fourth quarter when the Pistons decided to go on this generational run for the Motor City, and Cade was scoring. Malik Beasley, I think Jaden Ivey, everyone happened to be scoring at the end of the game, and like we were up with a comfortable lead, and we just did not. We didn't take care of business. Like, we were playing great the entire game. Like, we were playing pedal to the metal, but then when we thought we were going to win earlier on, this kind of goes back to with those light the beam chants. When you do it early on, it kind of feeds with the players, and then they go out, they think they're going to win this game easily, and then one lapse after another, it just leads to a, what was it? I don't even remember.
Mental lapse.
Mental lapses, and then Jaden Ivey hits that and 1-3, which, I mean, I bet he has less than 5 in his whole entire career.
I think that might be his first one.
It might be his first one. But
of course it's against us.
And then Geck goes on Twitter and he sees Laker fans making fun of Kings fans because the Pistons just beat the Lakers and we lose to them on a Jaden Ivey 4-point play. I don't think any team could say they've lost to the Pistons on a Jaden Ivey 4-point play. I think we might be the first. We're definitely the first.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Yeah, of course, because we passed on Jaden Ivey. And
I mean, I'm glad we did.
Me too.
Be careful where you're going there.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
No. I think what RT's trying to say is that like Jaden Ivey takes the Sacramento Kings matchup personal, and so like him making that shot was like the highlight of his career. Which honestly, it probably
is. It is probably his best.
This is probably the peak of his.
Yeah, that's probably
career.
his best highlight of his
for
career.
sure.
Easily.
And it's because he probably has the Kings passing over him. Anyways, I mean, that's just unacceptable,
Yeah, it's
unexcusable, inexcusable behavior by the Sacramento Kings. Like, God, okay. Right when he hit that shot, and then 2 seconds left, Darren tucks up the half court. It was close. It was a close attempt. Boos erupt through Golden One, and that's not the first time it happened this year. It happened the game before with the Pacers, and I believe it happened the game before with the Lakers.
It did.
Sacramento is
second
not.
Lakers lost.
Yes, so Sacramento is not happy right now. We were 13-13 at one point. We finally clawed back to get to the 500 mark. RT, what is our record now?
13-18, 5-game losing streak, first in the Mike Brown era. I mean, you just can't make this up. You can't make this stuff up. I don't like cussing on here. I almost stopped myself. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. It is. The players they look so checked out. De'Aaron Fox looks so checked out. I've never seen a player more checked out. I watched his the post-game interview.
That's another thing we need to talk about. 1 minute, and people were making a big deal about this. He was, I mean, it's probably frustration is involved, but he is the leader of our team, and as the leader, it's part of your job description to talk to the media. He talks to the fans for a minute, or he talks to the press, like answering the press conference after the game for 1 minute and 45 seconds, and people were not happy with what he had to say. RT, break it down.
Yeah, I mean, he treated it as like it's a loss, and he was just like it was like just one of those half canned answers where he was like, it's a loss, it doesn't matter. At that point, it should matter.
Did he answer it like it's a loss, move on to the next?
I mean, he was just basically just like so checked out. Like his body language, you can just tell like his face was just so out of it. Like his.
I mean, it was
a bad sighting.
Yeah, I mean, it was there was no accountability. It was more they're asking like, hey, what went down on that last possession, and his response was along the lines of, nothing I can say is going to make it better.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Nothing I could say will make it better. Hearing that from the guy that's supposed to lead you to the promised land, when you think you have enough pieces around, clearly in his eyes it's not enough. When your leader is losing hope how do the fans react? How are we expected to like still believe? Like, I personally am not ready to give up yet on the season. Like, yes, we're the 12th seed. We're 13 and 18. As crazy as that sounds, but I still think with the right moves, with the right mental adjustment, with the right locker room, the Kings could somehow sneak into the play-in, because that's what we are right now. We're out of playoff contention, but I still think if something magical happens, we could bump up 2 spots. That's not asking anything crazy.
I mean, we're probably like 3 or 4 games out of like the 5 spot
That's
right
what
now.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like we're still in it,
It's
but
like 4.
but
I think it's 4. I think it's 4. Yeah, something like that.
That's what I'm saying.
We're
Like,
1.5 games out of the play-in.
yeah, like we're so close to
We're
like
there.
what RT's saying is we're close to like the 5th, 6th seed. But I'm like, I'm not trying to be overzealous by saying, oh, we're going to be like a end the season 4th, 5th, 6th seed this year. I'm trying to be realistic as possible, because when we set that expectation where we're so excited about this team and it's just destroying our expectations and like, you know, we're just underperforming, I think me saying that we're going to be a playing team and still having hope for that, I feel like that's totally fine to say. And like, we're only a couple games back from, I mean, who's ahead of us right now? Is it the Timberwolves and the Spurs?
Timberwolves and Spurs, yeah.
And the Suns too.
the Suns. Well, the Suns won last night.
They won on Christmas Day. But anyways, like we're within like striking distance.
We're so close.
So it's like there's a lot of teams in the West that they say the West is wide open, but we're like, there's a lot of teams that are underperforming. Timberwolves underperforming, Suns underperforming, Spurs are overperforming. So we're like, you know, like there's a lot of teams that we could sneak into the mix, but like I think the front office knows, the fans know, the team knows that changes need to be made. So now I think that's where we start talking about like, how do we get out of this disastrous end of the 2024 calendar year?
I think I don't think a coaching change needs to happen, because I don't think it needs to happen. I just feel like, because I thought about it on the way over, I basically made like a raw Twitter video tonight, just reacting about it. And one of the things I said was that Mike Brown has lost the locker room. But I think reflecting on it, it's such a jaded response on it being like the coach is bad, because Mike Brown is a very good coach. I just think the Kings right now, the players themselves are not buying into what Mike Brown is selling. I think that Mike Brown is still a very good coach. I think this roster is very good. I believe that this roster, we have DeMar DeRozan, we have Sabonis, we have Fox, we have Keegan Murray, we have Keon Ellis, and I think that I think this team just needs to like buy into what Mike Brown is selling, and I think that to me is why I say that Mike Brown has lost the locker room. It's not a reflection on him as a coach. It's more of a reflection on the players and how they are taking the response from the coach. I think the players are checked out. It starts with De'Aaron Fox. And I mean, tonight it was a prime example, especially in the post-game interview, him making a mental lapse with that 4-point play, the game-winning 4-point play. And before that, like in that second half, he was awesome. But and then also kind of like stems from that first half. The first half, he was basically had 1 point in the first half. And then he has 25 in the second half or something like that. But I just think that you just have to have a player, and he's been super great. De'Aaron's been awesome. He's had a really, really good season. It's definitely his best season so far. But there are times, like for me, when I watch as a fan, I just feel like that De'Aaron could do so much more. Like he hasn't even scratched the surface of what he can do. And that once he taps in, like he could just be such a good point guard. And there's times where I just want to just like say, dude, you have it down. If you hit that second gear like you normally do, nobody can stop you on both ends. So I just think that De'Aaron Fox needs to step it up. I think just from just a leadership standpoint, from a playing standpoint, playing all 48 minutes, not taking a single play off, just like a single play where he's just missing a defensive miscommunication or he rushes a bad shot. There are times where I just think that if De'Aaron Fox plays the level where he's the best player on the court, like a Luka Doncic, like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, those point guards don't take days off. They don't take plays off. So I think if he can do that, I believe that De'Aaron Fox can reach that potential where he is considered one of the best point guards in the NBA, and even one of the best players in the NBA.
I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point. And I think, you know, like, I think the Kings are in a really good spot. I think they're 13 and 18. I think they're 13 and 18. God, hearing that gives me chills because I love De'Aaron so much. He means so much to the city. He means so much to Sacramento. But the question arises, does De'Aaron want to be here now? With all the buzz going around, with his Rich Paul talking for him, saying that, like...
That Rich Paul, man.
Like, people are saying, like, this press conference of his is, like, him, like, checking out. Like, him, like, saying... Like, subliminally saying, I'm ready to move on. So that brings up the question, like, do you really think De'Aaron... Is he playing for the team or is he playing for himself at this moment? Like, do you think De'Aaron Fox wants to be here, Gak? What do you think?
Yes. I know it looks bad, especially with press conferences like that. You see his body language. Things feel a little bit off here and there. But I don't think anybody makes the decision to decide, oh, I'm out on this organization over a span of 10 days. I feel like all of this like buzz that we've been seeing about De'Aaron Fox, trade him, like this organization's falling apart. This all happened because of a couple media reports in one meeting with Rich Paul. I don't think any rash decisions are being made in the span of 10 days after how long has he been here?
Rich Paul?
8 years. No,
Yeah,
De'Aaron's been here 8 years.
Yeah,
I was
not
gonna
Rich Paul.
say Rich Paul. Like, how long have you been in Sacramento for? But yeah, 8 years.
8 years for De'Aaron. Yeah, going off of what you said, though,
That's a good
that's
point.
a good point because it's like, yes, he looks obviously flustered in those press conferences, but it's like, how would you guys react after losing 5 games in a row? It's like your team, like you don't want to like go like lose like a heartbreaking, like very winnable game, like where you're winning 99.9% of that game and you lose the last second because of what you did. Then going up to answer those questions. Obviously, you're not going to be all sunshines and rainbows saying, oh, everything's good here in Sacramento. Everything's good in the locker room.
I mean, like, remember what we did to the Minnesota Timberwolves a couple seasons back, down 21 with like a minute 52 left?
Oh, yeah.
And we end up coming back, sending it to OT off of a De'Aaron Fox purposely missed free throw, perfectly bounced off the front rim, and then he lays it up, ties the game, sends it to OT. We end up winning that game. Like, that is a statistical anomaly, and that is exactly what happened tonight. So yeah, I don't blame the dude for being pissed, and like, yeah, you expect a little bit more out of your leader, but also keep in mind the dude just turned 27. Like that's a lot to ask for out of a 27-year-old to be perfectly poised and composed in a situation like that. Like, this is probably he's probably going to see a scenario like this, like a loss like this, twice in his career. And this is the first time.
I think it's just terrible timing, too. It's terrible timing.
It's bad timing, but like, this is just a bad stretch.
He's seen it on the positive side and on the negative side. So that like ties into like what you're saying about like the Minnesota game. Now you're like, you see it on the other side. So anyways, shout out to Fox Ones. Shout out to Justin Jefferson, by the way. And he wore the Fox One football cleats. It customized. It was customized too.
Like they didn't make those for football. Like he got them, but like shouts out to our sponsor Under Armour and Fox Curry brand for sponsoring this video. I mean, if you're a basketball player, if you're a fan of the Sacramento Kings, if you like hooping, you shouldn't wear any other shoe than the Under Armour's Curry Fox Ones. Like, these are by far the nicest shoes on the market. I wear them. Fox wears them. Everyone
now
wears
Justin
them.
Jefferson wore them.
RT wears them, and he drops 30 in his adult rec league. Like, come on, like
Justin Jefferson had 2 touchdowns and 140 yards in the Fox Ones
in the beam colorway.
Yes,
like, you know how special that is.
Yeah, that's so special. That was such a cool moment. I was just sharing with the guys. I'm like, dude, the best wide receiver in NFL is wearing the Fox Ones.
No, I think that's the coolest thing.
That is the coolest thing ever. You can't beat that.
No, and I mean, like, okay. Back to the De'Aaron stuff, it's like, obviously, De'Aaron is at the prime, like the mountaintop of his career right now. Brand new shoe. He's making a ton of money. He's the leader of a team. He's a lefty scorer. He's gorgeous. He's got 2 kids. He's doing everything right now. But it's not resulting in wins. So that brings up the question, which every Kings fan is wondering. We're 13-18 now. 5-game losing streak. 5 games under 500. 12th seed out of the playoffs. Kings fans are absolutely losing their minds, and so am I. I'm one of those Kings fans that's losing their mind. I was distraught after tonight's loss. And obviously, like, if we won tonight, it wasn't going to fix every problem, but it would have, like, put like a little Band-Aid over it a little bit just to sleep through the night. But now we leave Golden One Center. It is silent. People are visceral. They are so upset. And it's like, dude, get us. It's like, do we just need to, like, flip the calendar to get to 25 to see something better? Or is it like, what is going to happen? It's like the schedule doesn't get any easier. It's like we play the Lakers in LA in 2 days. Then we play Mavericks here. It's like the schedule does not get easier.
Without Luka, though, he's going to be out. He's going to be out for a month.
I mean, praise the Lord that Luka's not going to play. But I mean, like, still, Mavericks are still a great team without him. So it's like,
and then we play the Sixers, and they just got Embiid back, and then the Grizzlies. It's like,
and
then we play the Warriors.
The Grizzlies just put up a franchise high.
What, 155?
155 points tonight.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, I think the Kings are far away from figuring it out. It's like there's so many glimpses of being great, but it's like you got to play 48 minutes. How do you not secure the basketball with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left when you're up 10 to a team that is like, they won 13 games last year? You let them walk into the, I mean, I guess I answered my question. It's like, we can't win at home. This is the 12th game out of 31 game. Like, 12 of those losses were at home. Games are supposed to be,
and 5 of them were straight at home.
5 in a row. Like, I remember we were all excited that, like, normally, like, as a Kings fan, like, when the schedule comes out, people that don't live in Sacramento, they, like, are excited to come back to Sacramento, and they buy tickets to all these games. In the fact that, like, everyone that came from out of town to Sacramento for the holiday season, and they don't get to see one beam.
That is so
unbelievable.
Sad. That is so sad.
Yeah, holiday season without a beam is.
It's like Christmas was ruined.
It's depressing.
Like, I honestly believe that, like, Christmas wasn't that special this year.
No. So,
okay,
it really wasn't.
What you were saying earlier, I think we can't make any rash decisions about Fox right now, because this. I mean, yes, we're in a hole. We're on a very bad streak right now. Like, we're slumping hard. But we can't make rash decisions regarding Fox on that. But the pressure is all on the front office right now. Because
they're in control. They have full control. They got the red button. It's like whenever they want to click it, they can.
On paper, this team is incredible, but it is not working. And I just think at this point, the pressure's on the front office to make a move, to do something. Something needs to change, because once that happens, that gives the team an opportunity to kind of sit down and reset. We've had a couple opportunities to do that. We had a couple of days off with the NBA Cup Finals. We had a couple of days off with the Christmas games. Chances for people to kind of recoup a little bit, maybe give some players a chance to talk to each other. But clearly we haven't taken advantage of that, so I think we need a bigger cultural shift, and that needs to be some sort of front office move that hopefully addresses some of our weaknesses. Getting a 3-and-D wing, getting some more depth on the bench, like anything like that, and then see where we're at. Because I agree
with you.
I think the front office does whatever they can do to keep Fox.
I agree, because it's like obviously we're not going to trade Fox unless Fox forces his way out.
I don't think
that's the only way
we're we're not going to trade him away this season either.
No, like, we would only do it if De'Aaron walks to Golden One Center, he knocks on Monty McNair's door and says, "Hey, I've been here for a long time, man. I've given my all to this city. The city showed me love back. I've done everything I can to bring a successful. I try to turn it around as much as I can. But honestly, moving forward, I don't see it within my trajectory and with the franchise's trajectory. I just don't see it working out." That's what it would have to take for our front office to trade Fox. So when people are so quick to comment, trade Fox, realistically, if we were to trade Fox tomorrow, that would not better our team this season, the next season, it's like we trade Fox only if we make the decision to be a rebuilding team, because trading Fox is not. We're not going to get win now players for Fox.
Absolutely not.
So like when I see that all over the internet, I'm like, that's not the answer. It's like we have the window of like the Fox, Sabonis, the Keegans, the Maliks. Those are the guys you build around. We tried with DeRozan. Clearly, it hasn't panned out the way what we thought. Now we have like those draft picks and those assets. That's where you could kind of like try and like force those guys to a team to bring back those win now players to kind of prolong the window is what I think. But I just don't think.
But even at that point, if you say you give up on the picks, then if it doesn't work out, you put your future in jeopardy. So it's almost kind of like you're gambling on the fact that you
it's for sure a huge gamble. It's a huge gamble. What I'm saying. It's like we have to. It's like it's either you gamble or you just run it how it is,
or you play it safe and just rebuild.
Exactly. So it's like but it's like every franchise goes through this. You know, it's like you build your core, you try to run its course with it, and if it doesn't work out, then you either trade the house and get picks back. It's like it's an ongoing cycle, but it's like we're in the position where it's like you got to build around the core. You've seen us successful once, and like that season, it could have said we beat the Warriors, we would have kept going. So it's like that's where I think Monty McNair's head is at, where it's like, I think he's still very hopeful, and it's like he's waiting for that right move to like bring the right guys around his core to see where we could take it. And right now we're 31 games in. We're almost, one more game, then there's 50 games left in the season. Like that's still plenty of time to turn it around. There's plenty of franchises in the NBA that's turned it around this season so far. Why can't that be us?
Look at where the Bucks were at. They were 2-9 to start the season.
If we were 2-9, I think we all would have been like ready to throw in the towel, but it's like there's still time.
I mean, the Mavericks last year, they were under 500 before the trade deadline.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So they were, and then they made the finals.
They skipped out of the play-in,
and they made two pivotal moves. That's all it took. Two players.
PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford.
Like why can't that be us? We just need two guys. We all know what we're lacking. We bring those guys in to fill in those gaps. Flip the switch.
So I want to ask you both a question, because you did mention DeRozan, and then you said that it hasn't panned out. Do you feel like that is because these last 2 weeks DeRozan has hit like a big slump, or do you feel like this has just been like a season-long thing that you basically have felt tying throughout the entire season? Because DeRozan has had some highs. DeRozan is currently hitting his low point right now. Do you feel like that it reflects him as a player, or do you feel like that right now he is going through a slump, and if he turns it around, the Kings will turn around?
I mean, he played pretty well tonight.
No, he did. He was almost the leading scorer at one point.
19 points.
Yeah, so here, I'll answer first, Gek. So it's funny because I was talking about this, was it yesterday? Me and Gek were talking about it because, so DeMar DeRozan, he's one of the greatest mid-range scorers in the NBA, like in history. I view him so high, but his game is so ISO heavy. Like in order to get him going, the offense has to run through him. Like he has to get that positioning in the elbow area, and he's got to back down, pump fake, get to his spots. He's not the type of guy that he just slows the game down. And like what the Kings thrive in is when we're playing fast. And DeRozan, he takes the foot off the pedal a little bit. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it takes away from what we got going. I think in the previous seasons, like when we move fast, when we move the ball a lot, that's when we're at our best. And this season, I feel like when DeRozan is in our offense, he's not contributing to that, because it's like once he gets the ball, it's like, okay, it's my time to like get to my spot, which we all know, and like Darren knows and Malik knows. Like everyone has such high respect from DeRozan, where it's like we want him to get his own, So it's like I think the fact that DeRozan has such high royalty throughout the NBA, and especially on this young team, it's like everyone loves and respects him, so they want him to be him, but he's not essentially translating his game to fit our style of play. And sometimes it works, like when it's a fourth quarter masterclass where it's DeMar and Darren switching turns, it works out great. But like there's a lot of times where it's like he slows the game down too much, so it's like it makes me question. I'm like, is DeMar harming us, or is he like elevating us? And it's like it's so back and forth because sometimes he's elevating us, and there's a lot of times where he's bringing us down. Where I'm like, I mean, a guy like him is like, obviously every team would love to have a guy like him on their team, but he needs to fit the right system. And I think as 30 games in, it's hard to say if he's hurting us more or elevating us more, because we're basically a 500 team right now, where it's like, okay, well, we're below 500 right now, but it's like in the very beginning of the season, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so like we're so lucky we had DeMar DeRozan on the team. Given the ball, he could get a bucket. But like when he's not doing that, he doesn't make up for it on the defensive floor. You know, it's just, so that's where I'm at, where it's like, it's so up and down with DeRozan. Like, I love who he is off the court, I love who he is on the court, but in our system, there's a lot of times where it helps us, and there's a lot more times where it harms us.
Yeah, I think they need to figure out how to incorporate it more. And like, I mean, it's still relatively early in the season. We're 31 games in out of 80. We're almost halfway through the season, but still, like, some teams take seasons to figure it out when you add another core piece to your roster, like a guy like DeMar DeRozan. Like, if we added, like, say we were to add a role player, like the PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford trade, that's where you're like, oh, we have a missing piece. We need guys that like understand their roles, get him in there, and we move him right away. But when you add a guy that has as much firepower as DeMar DeRozan, it's a little bit harder to incorporate that into your roster.
Yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right that, like, yeah, sometimes he does slow down the offense, but I think they need to figure out a way to utilize that. Like, I miss the beam team offense, like the constant ball movement. We were running teams off the floor, putting up 140, 150 points in a night. But like, I remember one of the things that I know that Coach Brown has said in some of his post-game interviews is that he lets the team, like, he doesn't call plays a lot. He just lets the team figure it out. And like,
it's just a movement offense is what they run. It's like, because there's options out of the offense. It's never a play call. It's just,
yeah, exactly.
They have a specific offense they run.
And so like in times when I think having a guy like DeMar DeRozan is so helpful in times when you're in like scramble mode. Someone gets a pick on or a deflection on a pass. You're scrambling for the ball. You're low on the shot clock. 7 seconds left, something like that. Kick the ball to DeRozan, let him ISO and let him go to work. But when you're bringing the ball up the floor after a made basket, you need to run a good offense. Like, that's where I want to see like our beam team offense, or especially in transition off a miss, fast break points. Like, that's where I want to see like the fast paced Kings basketball that we're kind of used to seeing over the last couple of years. But utilizing DeMar in those points where we're weak at it. Where like when we're in scramble mode, we don't really have guys that can consistently hit those tough shots when you're in scramble mode. But he's like the perfect piece for that. But I don't know how to incorporate that.
That's what I'm saying too.
What do you think? Perfect world,
I think,
that would be great. But
Gek, I just want to say like that is like a very, very good analogy of just how you view it, because I think like what it is, it's just a basis of there's just too many cooks in the kitchen. There's too many chefs in the kitchen. I think, to me, the way that our offense was structured, you can tell who was going to be the main scorer of our offense, and that was going to be Fox or Monk. And then you can tell that Sabonis has been the main facilitator. Obviously, we missed him tonight, so that probably would have been a bigger difference if he was there. But I think, to me, especially with Monk, Fox, and DeRozan in a lineup, there are too many players that need the ball. And I haven't even counted Sabonis, because Sabonis didn't even play tonight. Those are 4 guys that basically demand the ball. And when you have too many players that demand the ball, that just turns into too many chefs in the kitchen trying to cook. You basically just need at least 1 or 2 guys. You need like the main sous chef, and then like all the other ones to just like the other one to follow suit. And I think like it's like Hell's Kitchen. You know how they like weed out the weak and all that stuff? That's kind of like what the Kings are doing right now. It's like there's too many Hell's Kitchen chefs right now, and it works better when there's less chefs in the kitchen.
I like how you use your kitchen references, because I think I'm a saucy guy, to be honest, but when there's too much chefs in the kitchen, it gets a little too saucy.
I agree.
And I think that's where we're at right now, where it's like, when you look at, okay,
less is more, man.
So, okay, thank you for saying that, because that leads into my next point. The Thunder. The head of the snake is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They drafted a guy, Jalen Williams, who's like the perfect like supplement. He's not a star. He doesn't demand the ball, but when he gets the ball, he makes the best out of his opportunity. Chet Holmgren, he is the perfect centerpiece to their team. You know,
the fact that both of them were in the same draft class is insane.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
so it's like,
insane.
So it's like them three, and then they find these guys. A lot of them you can't name because you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Where when I say you can't name them because they're not these marquee players. But in their system, they're stars in their role. Okay, like Ludwig Stortz, Caruso, Case and Wallace,
Isaiah Hartenstein,
Isaiah Joe. The list goes
AJ
on.
Mitchell.
And they go down the lineup to like their 12th, 13th guy. Whenever they're on the court, they know their role and they figure it out. With us, we had Fox, head of the snake. We bring in Sabonis, perfect supplement to him. They got the 1-2. Then we bring in Monk. Okay. Monk is like, is he that 6-man guy or what? When he plays with the starters, he fits in perfectly. And then we brought in like the Kevin Huerters, the Trey Lyles, like all of those guys, they fit perfect, like the supplemental pieces. We drafted Keegan Murray. Everything fit great. And then you bring on DeMar DeRozan, who's been in the league for 16 years, he scored 24,000 points. Like he is the guy on most teams. But you bring him onto a team where he's like not going to be the guy. He's going to be the supplemental piece.
He'll be a guy.
But he knew that coming in. Fox knew that. Like we all fans saw it. We were all like, this works because you supplemented Harrison Barnes for DeRozan. And it's like Harrison Barnes is a better defender than DeRozan. DeRozan is obviously better offensively, could shoot, could score wherever he wants on the court. But like that switch of Barnes for DeRozan, we're starting to see like, was Barnes the better fit for our team? Is DeRozan the better fit? Like people, and like Barnes fits great in the San Antonio offense. Honestly, I feel like anyone will fit great in San Antonio because of their organization historically. But it's like initially when Harrison Barnes goes out, you bring in DeRozan, you're like, oh my god, we upgraded like beyond control. Like the Kings are gonna win 75 games this year. It's like now we're seeing 30 games in, and you're just like, my god, like. Why is it not working? Like you think you have everything right in front of you, but it's like I think what RT's saying. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. It's like we need like a masterclass performance from down the starting lineup in order to win games. Tonight we finally had great bench production. Trey Lyles, my God, best game of his season so far. Did he end up with 20?
Yeah, he ended up with 20.
Trey Lyles masterclass game. He played amazing. I think it was because he made 4 threes. I think it was because he played against his former team. Jaden Ivey, he considers us his former team because we passed on him. So there's obviously every team every player when they give themselves a different edge, they play better against their opponent. But in this case, it was Trey Lyles and Jaden Ivey. And I mean, Keon got a little bit of run, not much, but I mean, 14. Why can't he get more run? My God! But
he needs at least 25 minutes a game.
That's what I'm saying.
Also, I think we're starting to see like I was really enjoying the Malik Monk experiment being in the starting lineup, but to the point of too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, we have so many ball handlers out there when you have Fox, Monk, and DeRozan on the court at the same time. Like, it's... I need to find the graph, like, the graphic that had the top, like, 5-man net ratings amongst the league. And, like, 3 of them had Keon Ellis in the lineup. Like... Another reason why I think the Kings are a statistical anomaly. Like, we have these incredible 5-man lineups that are putting up the best net ratings in the league, and somehow we have the worst home record. We're losing all these games. Like, we have all the pieces. We just don't know how to fit them together.
This is incredible.
I think it's not even a missing piece thing. I think we just can't find how to complete the puzzle. It's like we have the pieces. Like, how do we figure it out? Okay, that's actually not 100% true.
No, we're still missing pieces. We're still missing pieces. Absolutely.
Like, okay, but like with our current team, we should be at least 5 games over 500, not 5 games below.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's just like, what on earth do we have to do to figure this out? And it's like, again, it like Mike Brown can only do so much. I mean, obviously, the one coaching disparity that I have with him is like put Keon in the game more.
I know.
Besides that, I love what he's doing. He like is playing. He's playing the right lineups, but like Keon is the one guy that is getting getting the least amount
That
of minutes
shows
when
the
he
most.
should.
That shows a lot of effort. He's also the one that gives the most effort too.
Yeah, that's like the one thing that I disagree with Mike Brown. Everything else, I love what he's doing, but like the Keon Ellis thing, like that's got to be. I mean, any team in the NBA, Keon Ellis would be a pivotal piece, and like, why aren't we utilizing him like that? But I was telling Geck this when he got the DNP. Was it against the Lakers or the Pacers?
I think it was the
It was
Lakers.
Pacers. No, Pacers,
Oh.
right? Yeah, it was the Pacers, right?
Yeah, it was the
Because he
Pacers
got
game.
garbage time in the last
That's
4
what it was.
minutes.
He
right.
got garbage time. So I was telling Geck, I'm like,
That was mind
the
blowing.
only thing that I could think of is the front office is
Think
telling
Doug.
Mike Brown not to play Keon to show off Trey and Kevin and like all our other bench pieces to like advertise them as potential trade pieces and like not show Keon. Like that was the only thing I could think of. Like why else would you not play him?
I don't think anybody's thought about this besides you from what I've seen on social media.
I've been like, dude, I think about the Kings every night of my life. Like you could like if I'm in a good mood, it has to do with the Kings. If I'm in a bad mood,
Has to do with the Kings.
See, I have no idea what NBA front office politics are like, because I think that's just like something like that just feels so wrong.
No,
to
but they
me.
do that. No, they
I-
do. Because back with the Dante DiVincenzo thing, the reason why he didn't re-sign with us or like he signed with the Warriors is because he said, I think he said it in a podcast, is like Sacramento kind of did me dirty. They stopped playing me to like decrease my value. It's like it's an ongoing thing with the NBA. So it's like
Actually,
maybe
no,
like
I do remember hearing. It wasn't specifically about Dante DiVincenzo, but I do remember hearing somewhere in the I think actually Willie Cauley-Stein
Willie
it was
Cauley-Stein
Willie.
mentioned that.
Willie was
Yeah.
talking about
Willie
that.
was saying
Like,
that the Kings were tanking his.
They were taking his value.
His value.
Yeah.
It's like it's a known thing in the NBA. So that's why I'm thinking like.
Well, is it an NBA thing or is it a Kings thing?
Yeah,
'Cause
that's-
the
yeah.
two examples that we named are Willie Cauley-Stein and Dante DiVincenzo. Like, is this
Yeah,
an NBA
that's-
thing or
I'd
is
like
it
to think it's an NBA thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I know nothing about NBA politics, but
No,
that
but,
would
like-
be messed up.
but, like,
if it was
it-
just an
I
us
gotta find out
problem.
if like Eric Gordon was involved in that. That seems like a person that just would just lose value just because he wouldn't play, and then somebody picks him up.
I think it's more than just our team. I think it's an NBA thing, but maybe the
I would
Kings just
hope-
do it
I
often.
sure hope so,
Those are
dude.
the two examples, though.
Those
that,
are two
yeah.
great examples because I know Dante's talked about it. Willie just talked about it on the podcast with
Yeah.
what is it Theo?
Oh no, I don't
Theo-
know. Not Theo Vaughn.
No, Theo Vaughn.
God.
Not the. I mean, I would love to see Willie Cauley-Stein, Theo Vaughn.
Jesus,
is
that
it,
would be
is it
such
Theo
a
Pinson?
what a rotation
Pilson?
that would be.
I don't know, dude.
Theo Pinson, is that
Pinson, him,
Yeah,
his
Theo
pod.
Pinson.
It was
Oh.
that pod.
He has a podcast.
Oh, he's got a great pod. You should tune
I
in.
did
But
not know
anyways, I mean, it's just. I think it's a tale as old as time where it's like, I think they're told, especially teams where they're like working on a trade where obviously it's not working out. They like, because like that Kings that 2019 year, that was before the Beam Team era. We were like testing out the Dante Waters. He was coming back from injury. He was like showing glimpses, and then like we kind of stopped. And then he's like, "No, I got it. Like I'm better than this." So then he goes to Golden State, and he shines over there because he gets minutes. He gets that rotation. It's like, I think teams want Keon, where it's like, but it's like I think Monty, like he knows who he wants to keep and guys who he knows is on the trade value, like who knows who he could potentially mark as trades. So that's where I think with that past two games is what we did with that. I mean, like what are the reason why would we not put him in? I don't know. Other than that, or Mike Brown must have some interior beef that we do not know about, which I don't think is the case. But
I don't think it's the case either.
I doubt that's the case. One of my friends I brought to the game, he's a Dubs fan, but I mean when he was a Dubs fan like during their bad years, so he knows what it's like to go through.
He's
like,
a respectable fan.
Exactly. Like he's a Dubs fan that we can respect. And so I brought him to the game. I was telling him, like, hyping me up, like, dude, I don't understand why we don't play a guy like Keon Ellis. Like, this guy is so good for us. Every single time he steps on the floor, he makes an impact. The momentum shifts. It's always shifting in our favor. It's very rarely the case that he does something that hurts us the second he steps on the floor. And yeah, the like his best guess was he's like, because this dude like played like hockey all of his life, and he's like, dude, that looks like a case of he showed up late to a team meeting, he showed up late to practice, he pissed off coach, and coach is like, you're gonna get punished for that. Who knows? I thought that was kind of funny. Hey, maybe that's true, but I feel like, but
That's
in
the
a,
thing.
Yeah.
but
We'll find out. We'll find out either
like,
after
that,
one.
see,
yeah.
that sounds like. I mean, I have no idea what college or professional sport coaching environments are like, but I mean, when you're a professional athlete, like, okay, yeah,
Oh, that
okay,
happens. It happens in all
You
the time in the
you do
NFL.
things
In the
that might
NFL,
piss-
that happens all the time.
Like, if you do things that piss off the coach, like, if they're sitting you and that's causing that's detrimental to the team, I feel like you can't do that in the professional environment.
Does Mike Brown have a daughter? Is Keon hitting on his daughter?
No way.
Is that what's going on? There's gotta be something. There's gotta be something.
I'm sorry.
Keon
I'm
seems
sorry.
like a stand-up guy. That's,
Yeah.
If I had a daughter, I'd like
my
I'd
daughter.
like
Are you
Keon.
serious?
Yeah.
If I had twin daughters, Keon, you could date both of them. That's all I have to say about Keon. But okay, let's just break down the 5-game losing streak. Who was the first game?
Nuggets.
Nuggets.
Oh,
1 point
that was a
loss.
heartbreaker.
It was a 1 point loss. Then we play the Lakers.
Debo drops a catch. Doesn't matter if you're a Niner fan or a Kings fan.
Wait, was that the second Kings game or the first Kings game?
That was the first Kings game.
Was it with the drop pass?
The drop pass one.
was-
The
yeah,
first one,
against
yeah.
the Nuggets.
Yeah, it
And
was
then
against
the
the Nuggets.
second one was still a close game. Still a close
Lakers.
game in the Lakers, but they win. And then fourth game was the Pacers.
The third game was also the Lakers because
yeah.
we had a back-to-back.
No, I'm saying, was it the second Laker game and the third Laker game where he dropped the pass? I think it was the
No,
third.
it was
against
the
the
Nuggets that he dropped
Oh,
the pass.
was it dropped the pass?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
because then we played the Lakers back-to-back.
And then that back-to-back Laker game, they just blew us out. And then the second Laker game, which is the third game in the losing streak, that was a close game.
Like
Fourth-
4-point loss, 99-103.
Yes. Fourth game,
we don't
freaking
mention that game. We don't mention that game. We're just gonna move on. We don't need to talk about it.
fifth game.
Yeah, we don't talk about the fifth game either.
Fifth game was the Pistons.
We talked enough about it today. We don't
Yeah, we
talk about
did.
that one
We-
anymore. either.
Pistons, Pacers, Lakers, Nuggets. Next game, we got
Lakers.
Lakers in their hometown. Following that, we come back home to play Luka Doncic's
Luka
Mavericks
Doncic
without
less.
Luka.
Yeah.
Thank
So-
goodness it's an away game.
For the Lakers?
Yeah.
No, for the Kings.
The Kings game, yeah. It's
We're
an away game.
playing.
Oh,
we're playing at Crypto.
Oh, no, which is what
Thank
we
goodness,
need.
dude. We're gonna stomp the Lakers by like 38 because it's an away game.
So
Sheesh.
Gek was saying, I think the only thing that like shuts up the noise online is if we go into the Lakers arena and win by 30. And I was like, Gek, I still don't even know if that's enough. Because
think
all
it-
that's gonna do is
I
it's
think
gonna
a five
bring
game.
us.
I think a 5-game winning streak shuts it up.
Because it's like, okay, if we have that
But what
blowout
sparks
win,
a 5-game win streak? Destroying the Lakers on their home court by 38 points.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right.
I agree.
but at the end of the day, that brings us to 14 and 18. It doesn't solve any of the problems, but it starts something. So it's like, can we build off of
Yeah,
that?
you can snowball, though.
We're known to not going on big streaks in the past 2 months. I think the biggest streak we've had was 2 games since November. We're at the end of December. Since November, we've our biggest win streak is 2 games, and now we're in a 5-game losing streak. We're starting to get more accustomed to losing streaks and winning streaks, which is a huge problem. We're having a lot of disparity with our star player right now. There's a lot of noise in the media. The Kings are in a absolute just a mess of a whirlwind of noise, and there's a lot of opinions out there. Obviously, we give our opinions, but we like to try to stay as neutral and as, to the point as possible. But my God, Sacramento Kings. If you're a Sacramento Kings fan and you're listening to this podcast, thank you so much, because it means a lot to us.
Yes.
RT, tell your story about today.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a gig today, and I ran into some people that I went to high school with. We all went to the same high school. Gek is 2 years older than me. Krista and I were in the same class, and these people were in between, so they were a grade above us between Krista and I. And they were just like, man, this podcast, what you guys are doing is so incredible. It's such a good fit for you, Bo. It's a great fit for you and Cristo, and obviously Johnny too, and all that stuff. So just like people that I haven't spoken to in years giving us like that compliment just means so much. And it was just like, man, you just keep that going. And I was like, man, it's really special what we're building here. We are 4 subscribers away.
Yes, we are. We're so close.
300 subscribers.
We're so close.
so
We
close.
want the 300 by the end of the year. That's not asking too much. We still got
No.
like 4 days left in the end of the year. That means 4 people. All you have to do is click a button. It's not that hard. Please do. It will mean a lot to us. Another thing that happened at the game, me and Gek were sitting in our seats. Right behind us was my boy Figs. Figs I owe a lot to that man. He's done so much for me. He designed my shirts. I love the guy to death. And we were talking to him a little bit, and he's like, "Hey, you guys recording a pod after this?" And I'm like, "We sure are."
Oh, people were asking me. They were
he
like,
loved
yeah.
it, and then he was like, "Dude, let's go." And like people just like they love what we're doing, and then it all ties back to with Gek. Gek gets us this beautiful Kang Gang pod blanket, which you could see perfectly on the screen. He gets us the mugs. People are supporting us more than ever, and it means so much. And although the Kings are losing, it's not going to stop what we're doing. And although the Kings are not trending the way we are, the way we would hope, the Kang Gang pod is trending the way that we would hope. So, with that being said, 5-game losing streak.
But we are 4 subscribers away from 300. So please subscribe, because you know what? Like, we deserve this. Like Nemanja Bjelica says,
We deserve this.
We deserve this.
Get the Kang Gang pod to the moon. It means so much to us. If you like the video, if you subscribe, share it to your friends, share it to your grandmothers, share it to your grandfathers, share it to your sisters, your uncles, your aunties, everyone. Whoever likes the Kangs, listen to the pod. We love you.
We love you.
And we're tuning out.
We're 19 away from 600 on Instagram, so follow us there too, please. We're pumping out content daily on our Instagram, and it's fun content too. So please follow us on Instagram as well.
He's an analytical genius.
Yes, he
Gek,
is.
thank you so much for filling in on the pod. We love you so much for being here, Gek.
Yes,
thank
Gek.
you. Thank you.
This is the therapy session we needed. It's so nice to hear. I'll come here, Gek. But
We're standing up to finish the pod.
Yeah, we're
Why
finishing
not?
this up. But I think Gek's takes. I was like, man,
No,
this
Gek
guy
has great takes.
This was there was some fantastic stuff that Gek said, and I think if you got to the end of the pod and were listening to a lot of what he said, I was like, man, that's like super refreshing. It's like stuff that you hear, and it's like, oh, this is kind of a new, fresh thing that's really nice about it.
I think
Because I'm not an analyst.
Because with
I'm just a
me,
fan.
you're just an observer.
with me, RT, and John, and we kind of know what kind of takes we have and how we feel about the team. But to bring an outsider like Gek, who just means so much to us personally,
Yeah.
it means a lot more coming from him. And he's gorgeous, and he's beautiful, and he means so much to the pod. And if you want to see Gek on the pod, Gek is going to be here for. He's going to be He's going to be like a recurring guest.
Recurring guest, yeah.
He
Guest.
pops in whenever he can. He doesn't live in Sacramento, but that's what makes it more special. Is when he comes to Sacramento, he's going to be on the pod. So thank you, Gek, again for being on the pod. Thank you for rocking the. Oh, you switched jerseys. He was wearing Keon Ellis
wearing
tonight.
Keon at the game.
We
As
got-
soon as I stepped
I
in,
have a
Keon drained a
question.
3.
Oh.
I took the jacket off.
Yes, and
Did they
everyone
do
was
Keon
clapping
Ellis
for you.
chance? Did they do Keon Ellis chance at the game today?
No, because he came in early. But anyways,
We needed more.
thank you so much for watching. This is episode 19 of the Kang Gang Pod. Thank you for being here with us. It honestly means a lot to us that we have people listening to us just go through these losses together, man. I mean, it's just honestly, it doesn't get better as time goes. It just gets harder and harder as we keep losing, and I just really hope that we can turn it around. And it's just so hard. Just kidding. We love you. We're gonna bounce
Love
back.
you.
I love you so much.
5-game winning streak starts now.
Yes, sir. Let's end this.
Subscribe and watch these guys cook.
Thank you.
Yes.
We love you. Good night. I don't
night.
know why I say good night because they're gonna watch this in the morning.
Well-
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night.